Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Waffle and War, brought to you by Command Battle Win. So I'm Joe, I've got Azza, and I've got Chris.
Good day.
Hiya.
So how is everybody keeping? What's everybody doing?
Doing
This
good.
this is a question to you two, not to the listeners, but also to the listeners as well.
Yeah, doing good. Currently trying to paint Asriel because I still can't get hold of the lion.
Oh,
I
Sore
know.
subject.
So, big sad. Big sad.
oh dear. Chris, are you painting anything up at the moment?
I'm now just doing a bit of terrain just for easy painting, really.
Nice.
So yeah, just been doing a bit of that. I'm still desperately trying to get chaos done, but I think I've resigned myself to the fact that it's going to be a 10th army and not a 9th army.
But you've got a good head start on the 10th army.
I have.
Very
But
good
that
start.
means 10th edition army, not army number 10. Just in case my wife is listening.
I think you're safe. I think all of our partners are not listening.
Well, I've not been beaten yet, so.
So yeah, in terms of 10th edition, then moving quite nicely on to 10th edition, there's a lot of stuff that's been released recently, like a hell of a lot of stuff. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the Warhammer posts at all.
Been trying, but there is as you say, there's a hell of a lot.
It's every day they're doing a faction focus, aren't they?
Yeah, it's been a lot of information to try and keep up with. Unfortunately, with working as well, I'm not able to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
Fully.
The only positive thing that I think you take from is the fact that the focus, excuse me, the army focus stuff is very the amount that they're giving is not a lot. It's very like a proper little snapshot of what to expect. Yeah, so I saw obviously the Tyranids ones and the Space Marines, but the Tyranid ones I'm particularly excited for. It looks like they're getting rid of quite a lot of stuff, which I'm happy about. Synapse is a lot easier to understand. It's now literally, according to this, it's 6 inches of a synaptic model, and then it's 3 dice for battle shock tests instead of 2 dice. So that's it. I'm happy with that. And then Shadow in the Warp is quite mean. I quite like that. I don't know if anybody else is.
I'll assume that that's a significant thing for a Tyranid player.
Yeah, so it used to be that Shadow in the Warp would only affect psychic players, psychic models, sorry, and you would get a reduction on their psychic tests. And I believe I could be wrong, but I think it may, if they failed, it would do +1 mortal wound, or that might be another ability or something. I can't remember, but definitely -1 to the psychic tests. Where now it's basically once per battle in any player's command phase, you can unleash the Shadow in the Warp, which causes all enemies on the battlefield to be battle shocked. So if you say me and Azza are playing, and his models are all on the objectives, and I know full well that he's going to take the lead, I can cause battle shock against everybody and potentially stop him from scoring that
That's
turn.
horrendous. Yeah.
Pretty mean, isn't it?
Really powerful. This is the problem though, because I'm really interested in like the data sheets and stuff. But when you start seeing these numbers, like I don't know, you see Gilliman and now he's got 14 attacks with his sword. Think, wow, that's loads more attacks. But like in relation to other stuff that's going to come out, like new data sheets, is that going to be loads?
I don't think so.
Like, I think we've got our frames of reference. Like if 14 attacks came in from Gilliman in 9th, that's a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
In 10th, is that just going to ping off stuff? Is the strength 8? Is that
That's a
too
fair
low?
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the one thing I did notice is all of the Primarch data sheets that have been released so far. They've like I know Abaddon isn't a Primarch, is he technically? But he's got 14 attacks as well.
Okay.
So and have they released the Lions 10th edition one?
No, not yet.
Who is it that I'm thinking of? Is it just Gilliman that's got that then?
Yeah, Gilliman, Abaddon.
What about Angron?
Or is it maybe
No.
No.
No, I've not seen it if it has.
Oh no, Yeah, I'm sure there was another model that had got a 14. I've got all the what's it called in front of me now, actually. Yeah, Gilliman is 14. That's the Tyrannus. I've opened that twice because I'm an idiot. And Angon is 14 as well. Where's that? Just seen. Yeah. The Talons of Horus with devastating wounds, which I still don't fully understand. I think they're just mortal wounds, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes. Good. There was a lot of silence then. I was thinking,
Yeah. I mean, I'm still not. I haven't learned what all the weapon types are. You know, like where they've got devastating wounds or twin
yeah.
link, stuff like that. It's all cheap.
Lethal hits as well. That's another one I'm unfamiliar with.
Mm.
So they've not reduced all of the. We get frustrated when they use lots of different words for the same thing. It's starting
Yeah.
to sound like they may still be doing that with
So,
devastated and lethal and stuff like that.
so the only difference is they've unified the names across the board. So, for example, with one army it was called this, and in another army it's called that. Now it's just the same, like Death from Above and Deep Strike and Death from Below. So it's now all just called Deep Strike to save confusions. So you should be able to, if we're playing against me and Chris, if we're playing, you should be able to say, "Oh, I've got." Hang on, let me bring it up. Oh, I'm attacking you with the talons of Horus. It's got devastating wounds. I should then know exactly what that's going to do, rather than
Because
you
you've got
having
the
to.
exact same thing.
Yeah, it's holding the same keyword, rather
Yeah.
than you having to read the date sheet and go, "Oh, dude, I know what that is. It's this." And like sustained hits as well. That's another one that's on most of them as well. Just trying to have a look at the other examples. Um, Torrent, I don't know what that is. It's twin linked as well. So whereas before you could have potentially you would be holding two of that weapon, and you'd be equipped with two of those weapons. They've now reintroduced twin linked, which is telling you it's already got two of those weapons, and this is the profile that it's using. I think something like
I
that.
don't particularly like that because twin linked. The special rule for that is, for example, bolt storm aggressors. You've got two big fists with big guns on, and they do like 3 attacks per fist. But now they only do 3 attacks for both. But the twin linked thing means you can re-roll wound rolls.
Yeah, that's basically it, isn't it? It's just they've reduced the number of dice that you're rolling, but then you've got the chance to re-roll them to make them a bit better.
Yeah, but then with
Which
the
actually
other
is probably not a bad.
I don't know. We'd have to play it.
I tend to find it's a lot of the time it's words on a page kind of thing, isn't it? Until you play it, and then you're like, okay, that makes sense. Now we figured out what it means.
Yeah. Put theory into practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like with the Swarm Lord. He's got something. So his core abilities is Deadly Demise D3, and I don't know what that means yet. They've not announced it.
Explodes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe they have
because I think some of the Tyranids had like they lash out when they get killed, don't they?
Yeah.
So, which is effectively explodes, but you can't call it explodes because that's not actually what he's doing.
No. Yeah. So the idea is you'll have your data cards, and you'll have a piece of paper or two pieces of A4 paper that has got psychic, what that means, torrent, what that means, twin link, what that means, so you can quickly refer to. I think it's going to be a bit of a steep learning curve, but once we get up to the top of that and we get a head around the new terminology, it's going to be easier. I think. Yeah. I'm hoping.
Well, it can't be as steep as Ninth was.
Yeah, they sort of turned that on its head a little bit, didn't they, with Ninth? But so the what my understanding is from a lot of these data sheets is it's like they said, they've simplified it. It's not simple, it's just simplified. Although the one thing I was looking through the new Gilliman's, I can never remember if it's Gulliman or Gilliman, and it irritates me because I always say the wrong one. It's Gilliman, isn't it? Even though it's got a U in it.
Everyone pronounces it Gilliman, yeah.
Gilliman. They should just take the U out of it. It annoys me. Anyway, he's got quite a lot of abilities, but when you look at, like, when you break it down, he's got the author of the codex. So on the left hand side it says author of the codex, and it's got one of 3 abilities. and then you then choose one of those abilities. So even though there looks like there's a lot, there's not. So the one thing that earlier on I was looking at, obviously we were talking about this new alternative for Battle Scribe that's sort of appeared, and I was looking through the data sheet on that for the Mortex Parasite or Parasite of Mortex, and that data sheet is so long. It's massive, and every time that I play it, I just think there's just too much here. Like, you know what I mean? And certainly, Chris, when we've played, we've always said, like, you set a time limit if you're reading it, you need to. Otherwise, it just gets a bit. And it's just there's just too much, and they just need to simplify it all.
Scanning pages and pages of stuff to find that one word.
Yeah. So hopefully, touch wood, fingers crossed, and all that. This is going to be so much easier to understand and to follow. And I do quite like the fact that they've got keywords that carry throughout all of the factions, so you understand what the other person is doing. I'm also glad that I don't know, actually. I'd like to see the AdMech, because the Necrons they've got rid of the command protocols, haven't they now? Or so it reads as. So whereas before you had the cards, didn't you, and you chose the command protocols. Is that right?
Yeah. So previously you had command protocols. So between, I believe it was deploying and choosing the first turn, you would then choose the order in which your command protocols would be used. So there's a bit of guesswork as to what you were.
Yeah.
What would help and what wouldn't help. So looking now at command protocols, the Necron ability make war as a codified and relentless fashion. Their command protocols crackle out across multi-dimensional spectra from carrier wave projectors, compelling their semi-sentient soldiery into battle, overriding directive at a time. While a Necron character model is leading the unit, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, adds 1 to the hit roll.
So I imagine, much like the Space Marines, your command protocols will change based on what dynasty. So that's the Awakened dynasty. Sorry, depending on what detachment you're playing as.
Right. So
I assume.
rather than having changing once each turn, it's just going to be basically like a dynasty buff, basically.
I would assume. Obviously, we don't know yet. The data sheets doesn't have anything to do with their dynasty. If you look at the warrior one, there's no mention of dynasty on there, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. But then, like with the Space Marines, that's completely changed, isn't it? It's now, doesn't matter what faction you're a part of, you all fall under the faction of Oath of Moment or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's the special ability that is given to you from the detachment, I think, if I understand that correctly. I don't know if you've seen it at all, Azza.
I have not, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I think my understanding is in that detachment. So you choose a specific detachment. So you can have a detachment that is all tanks now. So it doesn't. There's no limitations on what you bring. You can have a whole squad of Terminators with a HQ or tanks with a HQ, and then you choose a detachment that is relevant to what you're bringing, basically. I think, and then you then get special faction abilities based on it. So Oath of Moment, basically you pick a squad that you can basically re-roll hits and wounds on that. So you would pick one of my squads, and that squad is the one that ability works on, as in you can shoot. Should that make sense?
Oath of Moment says if you're Adeptus Astartes at the start of your command phase, select one unit until the start of your next command phase. Each time a model makes an attack, you can re-roll hits and wounds. That's Oath of Moment.
There you go. That one.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that is effectively a faction. Well, would have been a faction-specific rule, but now it's something you can just pick.
Yeah. I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's cool.
And then I quite like, and Chris, this is obviously not mean much too, because none of your armies follow combat doctrines, but I quite like the new combat doctrines.
Love it.
Best
change I've seen so far.
Yeah.
the doctrines before I thought were a complete waste of time.
Yeah. So Chris, and for listeners that are unfamiliar to Space Marines, you would have the Devastator Doctrine, the Tactical Doctrine, and the Assault Doctrine, and each one of those would give you a -1 AP to like assault to heavy. Sorry, to heavy first, then it was assault and rapid fire, and then it was melee and grenades. They scrap that completely, and basically the Devastator Doctrine, you can advance if you've shot. You are eligible to in Tactical Doctrine. You are eligible to shoot and declare a charge if that unit fell back. So that's the Ultramarines one. And the Assault Doctrine is the unit is eligible to declare a charge even if it's advanced. And then that's what you can only use one of those doctrines per game. Am I right in thinking? I think it says. I'm sure I saw somewhere per game.
It says at the start of your command phase, you can select one of the combat doctrines listed below, and then you can only select each combat doctrine once per battle. So you can choose the order of them now.
Oh, good. But then once you've used that, that's it, done. You can't use it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I like
remember
that.
Yeah, me too.
Remember the waaaaagh ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. The waaaaagh.
Wow.
Got to be done every time we say
Absolutely.
it. Yeah. So that's where you could call in the advance and shoot, advance and charge and stuff. So
yeah,
Space Marines have got something similar now.
I'm quite happy with that.
That feels more tactical.
Yes. Yeah.
Sort of like than just going, oh, your heavy weapons are a bit stronger this time, or your assault are a bit. Like this time, it feels more like pull back and charge will be more tactical to say, right, okay, that's. Do you get what I mean? Like
yeah, 100%.
Making more movement, strategic stuff rather than just, oh yeah, it's just a bit heavier hitting.
Yeah. Also,
agree.
I mean, I used to specifically put out my Redemptor Dreadnoughts, so I was in range. So on turn one, they hit a little bit harder. So it's just a different sort of mindset and a different strategies going on. I'd much prefer the 10th edition way. I'm looking forward to basically going, oh great, I've just done this, but I need to get over there and I can quickly advance again, or you know what I mean, or after I've shot or whatever. I'm looking forward to it.
I agree. I think the only concern, they do have a little bit of structure. So, like with 8th, 9th edition, you can only take up to 3 of the same unit.
Yeah.
You can take up to 6 of a troop unit. But, like for our smaller games that we play, we could essentially just take some tanks and that's it.
Yeah. But don't forget they have said that is only at the start. So with extra stuff that's going to be coming out, they'll be introducing new detachments and new
restrictions.
Yeah, new detachments and then new factions like Oath of Moment will be extra stuff added on. So we might find that when they release their equivalent of a DLC for it, which I'm kind of hoping they'll do with army like DLCs. There'll be like new faction rules.
It doesn't get overly complicated real quick.
Well, if they do, then they're sort of going against their own message, which is we've gone with simplified, not simple, and then we're going to overly complicate it.
It's blatantly a sales tactic, though, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, and it's working.
It really is. I'm hooked.
Yeah,
it's basically you said, we listened, we've made it simpler for now.
Yeah.
For now, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And we've kept it the same price for now.
For now. Yeah.
There you go. We've got Games Workshop's new slogan, for now.
For now. Welcome to 40k for now.
So in terms of this Leviathan box set, 150 quid. Mr. Allspecs worked it out that if you bought all of the equivalent kind of models in a multi-part kit rather than monopose, because these are going to be monopose, it would be about £620 all in. So it's a hell of a saving. Joe, obviously you collect Ultramarines and Tyranids, so this box set was built for you.
I'm a little bit excited.
Only dogs could hear him squealing.
So Chris, I assume your feelings are more kind of relief that you don't have to burden yourself with a massive pile of plastic.
There is and there isn't, because it's great because obviously off the hook, I've got plenty to be getting on with and stuff. But at the same time, it looks an awesome box set. And
Really
the Games Workshop have definitely done a good job because it's made me go, ah, and I believe I've actually sent messages saying, well, I mean, I guess I should probably get the starter set, just so that when we're filming the battle reports, we've got our own armies.
We had a conversation 3 days ago, I think it was, dude, with you saying I might get the new box set because then at least we've got the other alternative for filming battle reports. I'm like, oh yeah, get it by all means. You don't need to get it, but get it by all means.
You wash your mouth out. I do need to get it.
All right.
It looks awesome. It looks insane how much
It looks so good.
The sheer vast amount of models. I think
Yeah.
anyone that does buy it, I think won't be needed to buy more models after that for at least 3 weeks.
At least 3 weeks, yeah.
At least 3 weeks.
All right, so let's have a CBW exclusive. Chris, if you got that box set, what colour Space Marines would you have?
Oh, that is a good question because obviously you have to factor in what we have as well because we won't want the same ones.
Hang on, sorry, you can't see this, but I got my hand up. But I would definitely think you would go with Blood Angels. I'm just saying.
Angels,
yeah.
You reckon Blood Angels? Are they red?
They're red, but they're like vampire guys basically, and you love your Twilight.
You what? No. Okay.
He's not denying it.
You could go with an obscure one. Like, what other red ones are there? You've got successor chapters. There's one called the Flesh Tearers, and they all love chainswords.
Cool. The chainsaws do look cool.
I'm googling it right now. Red Space Marines.
We did notice, didn't we, that the bit that I am lacking is a good guy's army.
You could be Red Templars, whoever they are. They're a successor. I think they're a successor chapter. I think maybe, and they like bikes.
Oh,
yeah. You see, there you go. You want your bikes,
and I'm in.
But to be fair, you could go with literally anybody. All Space Marines can have bikes.
And I don't have a good guy's army yet.
You don't. You could be the Red Legion.
Legion. You could make your own Space Marine chapter.
You could be the CBW.
Yeah. We could make some transfers out of our new fancy logo.
Yes,
definitely. I would like us to be able to get some transfers to put
on the side of a tank.
Yeah.
Or
and then like
posters and terrains.
Yeah. I like the idea of it being like propaganda posters.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Here we go. I've got a list. So you could be Red Wolves. You could be Red Talons. You could be Raven Wolves, which are red and black. You could be Red Hunters. You could be the Rampagers. You could be the Profilators.
What if I wanted to be a blue-based Space Marines?
You could be a blue ball Space Marine.
No, I can't. You get upset if I wear a blue hoodie.
I do.
You could
go to Warhammer World and I'm wearing blue, and you're like, go change.
I was like, dude, come on, seriously, come on, all I own is blue hoodies. Seriously.
Oh, sorry. In the world of hoodie ownership, I didn't realise you had the monopoly.
Yes, don't you forget it. Oh dear, Blood Angels. I could see you having a Blood Angels army. To be fair.
Yeah, and Dante's only just come out, the big golden boy with the jump pack. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and just a quick message: if anyone is from Games Workshop listening to us, can you send us some of this exclusive free stuff that you're leaking to other people? Because we want to play.
Yeah,
if you listen,
ideally a lion. That'd be good for me.
I'm sorry, but if you listen, I mean, we're quite close to Nottingham. We're quite close to the motherland. If you listen really quietly, guys, I can hear them laughing.
Yeah.
See, the real joke of that is that you're expecting that they're listening.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, maybe they can't hear us at the minute because everyone's complaining about that Warhammer Fest event.
Why? What were they complaining about?
Apparently, it was far too busy.
Oh.
So,
What? Like, oh, it's too popular and too successful. Oh no.
well, apparently there's some tournaments going on, but they'd sold, I don't know, the estimate's like between 6 and 8 thousand tickets according to Valrak, and there were 4 tables with 10th edition demos on.
Ah,
Oh,
okay,
So
okay.
apparently people were queuing for about 3 or 4 hours just to get to the table.
Apparently, weren't
And
they queuing for like 3 hours to get to the shop as well?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and that wasn't helped by if you bought an expensive ticket to get into the event, you got like a voucher to spend at the shop,
And
but
you
you
had
could only
to,
spend,
yeah. Sorry.
yeah, you could only spend it at the shop at the event. So
oh, so you could just shop online while you're waiting in the queue.
no, it had to be from the shop. And apparently, the shop was only selling fairly obscure, sort of Forge Worldy kind of things and
Stock clearance.
range.
That's all I'm hearing.
Yeah,
Oh
so
dear.
it's classic GW shenanigans, I think.
I've seen that for quite a bit though, because when I've been to a few events and stuff, especially post-COVID, seems to be worse. Where you go and it's just massively undercatered for. You know, like you go to an event and there's 2 food trucks, but they've sold 10,000 tickets for something, and you're like, but they knew how many. Like they sold tickets beforehand, so they knew how many people were coming.
Yeah.
It's not like it was a surprise where they went, oh, 5 will turn up probably to this thing. Oh my god, 10,000 people have descended on us. Like they knew that they sold the tickets beforehand, so surely.
Like Terry, I told you to sell 300 tickets, not 3,000 tickets, you idiot. Oh, it's all right.
Oh,
They're not going to turn up. It's not like they've paid for the tickets, is it?
Harry, we've only got 12 sandwiches.
I was going to say, it
Gotta
feels a
win
very
sandwiches.
orky way of doing things, isn't it? It's just sort of like, yeah, we'll put 4 tables out, it'll be all right.
It'll be all right.
But even worse, though, apparently you were only allowed to play 1 turn before you got kicked off the table. And to speed it all up, they gave 1 unit to 1 player.
Oh.
So if you were the first one to get shot off the table before you'd even moved, because that happens, obviously,
Yeah.
then your experience of 10th edition was standing there, someone saying, oh, your guys are dead. And that's...
I feel like they, well, I mean, they've been doing a good job with their releases. They had to fuck up somewhere, I guess.
To be fair, though, just putting in there, that's kind of what Chris felt like playing against Tyranids for months until he updated his battle scribe.
Hey, I'm still sore about that. Oh, dear.
Yeah, that made me laugh more than it should. Bless you. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I remember telling you that you needed to update it, and you're like, it'll be all right. Like, dude,
No, I thought I had. That was
this
the
has
thing. I was
appeared.
like,
It'll be all right.
for a long time, it kept coming up and saying, you know, you've not updated for a while. Do you want to update? Yes, every time I logged in. And then it just simply stopped, and I just assumed, okay, I guess there's not an update.
Well, I remember sitting there, I'm like, dude,
What?
look, there's an update, and you're like, oh, I've not got it. That'll be all right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it must have already done. It must have already happened for me.
Hey,
So
now,
naive.
Now, speaking about Battlescribe updates, I've seen on the Battlescribe Reddit subgroup that the gentleman that created it has done 2 updates in the last month, and everybody's basically saying that the reason why he's done it is because it's becoming obsolete on older Android devices, and he's literally updated it to allow permissions for the app to be accessible on the older Android one. So
I can carry on getting the monies.
yeah. So I suspect that in 10th edition, I think, because there's quite a lot of other people that are now trying to do a better version of Battlescribe because he's abandoned it for the whole of 9th edition. I suspect that either Games Workshop and, again, people on Reddit, and I don't know how they know, have said that the new Warhammer app is supposed to be really, really good for 10th edition. So I suspect he's going to lose all of that, and with obviously other people creating bigger and better apps. I mean, the one that we were talking about, Forces or whatever it's called, looks promising, but it depends on what the Games Workshop, for me, it depends on what the Games Workshop is going to do.
Basically, we could definitely get wooed into using a different app.
Easily, yeah. And I would pay if the app is good and it does a good a job or better than Battlescribe. I would pay Games Workshop the monthly subscription to use the app to build the army. To have the nice pictures on there, to have it nice laid out, because the The problem with like the other app, the Forces, is it's not very well calibrated. I don't think for my phone. And when you turn it sideways, like you would think you'd get a bigger screen, and it just doesn't look as good. Whereas the Games Workshop one, you would think that it would be well built, and you know what I mean. Whereas Battlescribe is very basic, like looking at Warpedia or something on your phone.
Yeah, definitely. I actually prefer Warpedia, to be honest, nowadays.
Yeah, I'm starting to get reused to the actual data sheets, because for ages when we used to play, I used to go to Battlescribe, export it, and then go to Butscribe, and then convert it into the Games Workshop layout. And then I stopped doing that because it was too much hassle, and I got used to Battlescribe's format. And now I'm starting to dislike it, and I want to go back to the Codex, looking at that format, because it's much easier.
Can't wait to have those cards. Just holding a physical card in your hand, not worrying about your battery on your tablet.
Yeah.
I have to tip through loads of bits of paper. Having some nicely printed cards, all nice colour. Fits my OCD, everything's there nice and neat. And now it looks like, I'm just looking at the Land Raider one, you've got the front side, which is all of the sort of weapons and stats, and on the back side it's how you can customise it. So the war gear options, what the unit's made of, and any sort of other rules. So I think that's really good. Looking forward to them.
So a question and a thought that I had earlier on today, obviously geeking out and looking at the data sheets. So when I got home and the Necron stuff came out, would you, right? So let's say they're what, A3s? That's quite small, isn't it? A3, A4, no A3. Yeah.
A3 is giant. A5 is
A5. So let's imagine that they're A5, right? Would you potentially put that onto a piece of like paper, line paper, for example, and then laminate it so on the right hand side you could write on with a wipeable marker you're changing in stats and stuff like that?
No.
Oh, no, I thought that'd be quite a good idea. You could write on the side like when things get buffed, because I always forget.
Are you thinking for like crusade stuff? Or...
Just for games as well. I did it with 8th edition, and I printed everything off and then laminated it all, and I found that really useful when we were playing, because I used to write down like, you know, +1 to hits because of XYZ or psychs.
I think the problem we got with that was that because every time they released an update, it made the cards obsolete.
Well, this is the problem that I foresee with the new 10th edition. But at least if it's laminated,
you buy the printed cards, and then they go, "Oh, by the way, we've just updated, so now they're all completely worthless. So we'll reprint the cards, and you can rebuy them."
You can write all over them.
How are we going to get people to continue to keep buying cards?
Now, I suspect what they're going to do is you're not gonna. I don't think you'll be able to buy the cards. I think it will be a PDF in the app that you download and you print off. I reckon. I think so.
I mean, I do feel like they're probably working towards, because obviously when they say they're going to release all the stuff for free, I imagine it's going to be, but you've got to use the app. So they're probably looking to try and channel people like us that have been reluctant to get the app because we're using things like Battlescribe.
Yeah.
So I imagine this is their way of trying to combat people using other unofficial entities.
Yeah. So I think they're doing that to bring us all over to it. So it's all free for the very launch, and then when the supplements start dropping and the extra, like the DLC equivalents, the extra missions, then you'll have to pay to subscribe or individually buy them.
Yeah. I mean, they might do the initial card launch a bit like with the printed codex. You get a code that will let them do all the updates.
So the key thing would be to have a look at the Leviathan box set, because it shows you the contents already, and I can't recall seeing any cards in that.
It did say there was cards in it.
Did there? I can't recall.
It's the ones, you know, where they said there was like the Gambit card and the primaries and secondaries.
Yeah.
I think
I'm looking on that at the moment. But did it have like what they've got in the box set? That's probably the ones. Quick, everybody Google it.
Much detail. I'm pretty sure it's just the objective ones.
Oh, that's how I was going to say there's a Leviathan interview thing there. Join our community, it says. Have you seen that the you can sign up for either the Space Marines or the Tyrannid emails. I thought it was quite funny.
I've signed up for some emails just because it said I could win a copy of Leviathan, to be honest.
So
Nice.
what else is in Leviathan? Mission cards, crusade rules, and a big old book.
So the rule book, that's going to be a key one to get, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But you also get a crusade book in it as well. You get the Titanic War, which is the book for the game. You get chapter approved Leviathan mission deck, which are the decks, and then with the objective markers, and then.
So you get actually a hell of a lot more than what you got in Indomitus, really. They've kind of really taken the idea of Indomitus and ramped it up a bit.
It says on top of that, you'll get 40mm objective markers as sturdy token cards and a 10-page rule insert for using your deck. Yeah, if you love your rules.
I'm just looking at the faction rules thing, and there's a lovely picture of Tyranids versus Blood Angels. I put it in the Discord chat for you to have a look at, but Blood Angels and Tyranids are like they go together a lot. So
they go together like Ultramarines and Tyranids.
Well, the devastation of Baal, that was the Tyranids attacking the Blood Angels' home planet.
Yeah.
And that's where Gilliman was when on the 10th edition trailer.
Now I heard he was actually eating his sandwiches.
In the bunker.
In the bunker, yeah.
The cheeky bunker.
Till it blew up.
Were you cheeky bunker? I don't know.
Yeah, cheeky bunker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheeky bunker wanker.
Okay, Chris, that's what we're all trying to avoid saying, but yeah, you said it. Cheeky bunker wanker.
Very good. Hey, interestingly, just to completely sideswipe the topic, I didn't realise the Lion Son of the Forest was out on Audible as an audiobook.
Oh, I saw that after we talked about it. I saw it and thought, oh, I need to let Azza know that that's available.
Well, thanks for letting me know, Chris. I've got it now.
Well, I might have to get it as well just to keep up because, you know, as you've just been doing a bit of our explore the war.
Explore the law.
Yeah, not the war, the law. Although we could explore the war in our battle reports.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I've just realised we can't call any law stuff Law Masters because that's exactly what they call it on the Warhammer Plus channel.
Masters of Law?
I think I'd go over Commander in there somewhere. You know, that's on brand for our channel.
Commander Law? Waffle and Law? Waffle and Law? Waffle and War? Waffle and Law?
Someone must have done Lawhammer.
Yeah, there's got to be a Lawhammer out there.
I'm Googling it as we speak.
I mean, we're just trying to spitball ideas for our own channel at the minute. So
there's a Lawhammer podcast.
Okay.
That isn't as good as ours, obviously. So,
not got the dedicated subscriber base like we do.
Oh, absolutely. That's an interesting point. Let's see.
How is our fan?
100% of our listeners listen to the end. That's what we need.
Absolutely. I haven't had a look on the Spotify analytics. Oh, okay. So in our lifetime, we've had 92 plays. That's interesting. I'm surprised at that.
That sounds about right. Actually, Asa, how many times have you walked your dog?
3 times a day.
We've only got 30, and I mean this is boring for anybody that's listening, but if you like this sort of stuff, we've got 13 episodes. The total play is 92. Our audience size is currently 10, and our last episode has got 8 listens.
Oh, which I did have a comment from a listener.
Oh yes, I'm listening.
Apparently we say leave a comment below, it helps with the algorithm, but apparently they are unable to leave a comment on Spotify.
Yes, but they can leave a question, I believe. There's an option to leave a question. It comes up when I submit it. Also, hello to everybody that is listening in Sweden. Do go over to YouTube and type in Command Battle Win, and then just leave us a comment. So for that 13% of our people that are listening, our demographic location, that is 13% is Sweden, randomly. Hello.
Very nice. Hello. I don't know how you say
hello.
hello in Swedish.
No, but maybe they could come over to YouTube and they could comment and let us know how to say hello in Sweden. That or somebody's listened to us with a VPN.
Yeah.
In which case, come over and say hello.
Now this is interesting. I'm shocked at this. So 94% of us on Spotify that listen are males, but 5.6 are females.
Oh, I might know who that female is.
Okay.
We have a colleague, don't we?
Hello, female colleague who doesn't listen to us.
No, she does. Remember?
Is she?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
remember she got she got annoyed, didn't she? Because people were belittling us, saying that we were playing with our toys.
Yes, yeah, you're quite right. And she also said, "Who's the other guy in your team called?" It begins with A, as something like that. No, and you were like, technically right because Winters kept calling him as, but we call him Azza.
Oh no, that's a different female.
Well, we've got two females that listen to us.
We know a few females.
Crikey, I'm not too sure who you're talking about. Oh yes, I remember now.
Yeah, but we can't. But don't want to name names, because
No.
we want to protect people's privacy or
Yes.
job roles.
But hello to that one female that listens to us. Go over to YouTube and drop us a comment if you really want to, because it helps the algorithm on YouTube, but not on Spotify because you can't do it. But apparently you can ask a question, so ask a question. Yeah.
In the form of a comment question.
A comment question, yes.
I enjoyed this. Did you?
In fact, actually, I can. So yeah, there's an overview. I can put polls on. I can put questions on, and then people can ask a question. Or I've never checked it before. Hang on. Yep, they're all 0 responses, so no one's asked us anything. So that's fine. Right. Anyway, we were sideswiped away from Warhammer, and we need to refocus on the Hammers of War because we are 41 minutes into this. So, Azza, what were you thinking in terms of our length of our podcasts? Were we saying that we're happy with the time that we're doing, or we want them longer?
I think it depends on our audience. I've heard different things from different people. YouTube's a bit different, isn't it? Sometimes a long video will put you off from starting it.
Yeah.
With Spotify, it's normally something you have on in the background or while you're, I don't know, driving or walking the dog or whatever. And if they're shorter, that's more annoying because they'll put adverts in between, even if it does autoplay. So longer, fine. If we've got nothing to say, there's no point in dragging it out.
No, definitely.
But, I'd be happy to do longer ones just so, if we've got interesting stuff to say, there's no point in just stopping for the sake of, this seems a bit long.
So, which would... Sorry, go on, Chris. You were going to say something.
I was going to say, it sounds like the longer ones, we need to put maybe a bit of pre-planning into, not a script, but maybe talking points. We kind of just wing it a bit, don't we? We kind of get on, have a chat, and just wherever the conversation takes us is where we end up.
So I normally have a few things on my screen up to talk about, to prompt to move the conversation forward, if I'm honest. But it's not.
Yeah, but I mean, like if we're doing a longer one, we probably need it agreed beforehand, so we can all go and look things up, be informed, so we're not getting that pause in while we try and Google something and read something and digest it on the fly.
True. I mean, it might be that people like that we're just waffling and warring. That's the point of it, I suppose. But yeah. So
because we don't want to just run out like I feel like we've naturally digressed away from Warhammer because we kind of ran out of steam a little bit. I don't know.
Well, so my
that was natural. That was natural because we were talking about Audible and listening to the Lion.
Yeah. Natural progression. My question would be to the people listening then, and also an open question to all three of us. Would people, do you think, and would you as a listener, would you prefer for us to on the podcast to summarize videos that we've done, like games that we've done? Would you like us to make comment on models? What would you like to hear us talk about on top of
maybe a reading of the comments?
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a fair few ideas in terms of video and content. So there's a couple of things that I recently posted onto the CBW YouTube account asking whether people, in fact, I've not looked at it actually, whether people would like a Patreon account and like a access to us to talk to us via Discord. So me and Chris yesterday were doing, because you're editing a video about like painting and how like the benefits of that, and on that we were talking about would people like a place to be able to post their painting things to show other people in a closed environment to get constructive criticism. Sorry, I can't speak. And to have more of a friendly community, because the three of us benefit massively in terms of motivation by painting and sharing with each other, because we prompt each other to continue. So would that be something that people would like, so we can all, and you can post it and we'll go, oh wow, that's great, do this, that and the other, or whatever. Don't know.
I mean, makes sense, but are we the authorities on how to make people's paint jobs better? I can
No.
imagine that someone will post a picture that's better than anything of us three have done
So
in our lives.
And that was our point yesterday. Like those type of things, like, oh guys, I've just started painting. What do you think of this? And it's like GW Demon Award quality painting. You like, fuck off. That's bollocks. It bollocks. Are you a first time painter?
It's not relatable.
Yeah, we want people to say, guys, I've just started painting. What do you think of it? Because they do it on Reddit, and people are very nice on Reddit. But then, like on Instagram, you just you disappear into the ocean that is people trying to get thumbs up and likes. Whereas this would be specifically for people to join, to post their stuff, talk about it, rather than wanting the attention. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and get some genuine advice and tips on using shader, or that encouragement that we all need to start edge highlight. Because let's be honest, no one goes into the abyss willingly.
Okay, so we have had, I posted one day ago, would you be interested in a members section or a Patreon to get exclusive content and videos, also a Discord server? Comment below to discuss. Below, we've been discussing it and wonder how you feel. So only 7 people voted. So, but it's 71% is no, and 29% is yes.
One of those yeses was me, by the way.
Okay.
I went with a yes, I think, as well. So I think it's safe to say no one wants it.
Overwhelmingly no. At the minute, once we start exploring our own options, maybe revisit that idea further down the line.
So I suspect personally, I wouldn't pay. So it's not something that I have ever done. I don't even pay for like things on my phone, like games and stuff like that.
Sorry, did you ask whether they pay for it?
So Patreon is a paid.
Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon is paid.
Oh yeah,
so
definitely not.
My next question would be
my answer to a no.
my next question to you guys and to people listening as well is that, would you prefer it to be free access for now, and then we would be happy to get community involvement, and then later down the line when we've got a larger following, if people wanted to support the channel and show support rather than getting access stuff, they could try and support us and to help sort of the channel grow. A lot of people on Patreon, what they tend to do is you pay them, and then you get, like Midwinter's does it, you pay him and then you get your name in his video, so stuff like that. But that's further down the line. For now, we just want to get people involved and people in a small community. The CBW, we want a big CBW together, under one roof, holding hands. We want to be CBW friends together and helping each other CBW. So would that be something that people would like? Again, you can ask the questions, you can give us a comment on Spotify, or you can go over to YouTube and comment below. And if it's no, fair enough. We start barking up that tree.
Works for me.
Yeah. So, okay. What is there anything else? So the other thing that I would waffle and war about is the Warhammer Heroes, the Space Marine ones that they've just announced, which are awful. I don't know if either of you two have seen them.
I have seen them. I did. They didn't quite like with the Death Guard ones that I got. I was able to put them all into one squad. It doesn't look like they go into one squad.
No.
They're for
The
kill
Death Guard
team.
ones were great though. The poses were really good.
Yeah.
These Space Marine heroes, I I assume that there's been some new rules for kill team that allow you to mix different models
So
from different units into the
you've
same kill team.
you've always been able to do that in kill team. You've always been able to have different. So you and then you dress them up as heavies and stuff like that. You can have different models and different in your squad. Is it 4-man or 5-man squad?
No idea, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's they're playing more like a 4-player co-op game, which has always appealed to me because it's something that we could easily expand into, but we're not going down that rabbit hole.
Oh
But so
yeah. Anyway.
not yet. So these were announced during the Kill Team at Warhammer Fest or whatever it's called. Warhammer Fest. But they just don't look. They literally look like, instead of having to buy a squad of eliminators, a squad of heavy intercessors, a squad of infiltrators, and a captain's on its own, and then an assault intercessor, you can basically get these and get that squad. So you're saving a lot of money if you wanted to build a kill team with those specific models. But if you wanted to go down the original hero route, which is like Chris, you were saying, with the exclusive models that you use in the squad, the Dark Angels, the Blood Angels had their exclusive Terminators, and the Ultramarines had their exclusive ones before. This seems very much like this is for kill team. But if you want to add them to your models, you can do. But they're not really doing anything specifically cool. They just stood there, like your other models. Yeah,
I guess. I mean, I've always been against adding one random model to my squad. So, like, one of them's an eliminator, isn't it, with his foot on a rock?
yes, yeah.
Would you want a 4-man eliminator squad?
Well, I've got 6 of them. I've just got 3 unbuilt. So,
Yeah. Okay,
yes.
but I guess the main issue there is, well, I suppose now that they've got rid of power, that's less of a problem because it used to be, like if you went one model above
Yeah, that was
lower
annoying.
threshold, then you have to double your power limit.
Yeah.
And if that's all got rid of, then it'll be easier to add them to your unit if you're really desperate. But all their poses are just sort of, they're good poses to have in a squad where they don't stand out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want that, because how much are they?
I have no idea. £8 probably, I imagine, per model, I'd guess.
Probably more.
Yeah. But the models don't look like you would want them in a single squad. They just look like you've just gone, oh, I've got 2 intercessors. I'll have that one. I'll have that one. I'll have that eliminator. They just look like they should be in a squad, like you said. They don't look like heroes. They don't look like, they're not specific. Like with the Death Guard ones, they've got cool poses. They're holding special things. You've got the little nurgling dude. These are just like normal models that you could get out of your normal packs that you would normally buy.
So it's like someone's naughty nephew has come round and stolen odd models from your whole army.
Yeah, and it's playing with them. Yeah, that's exactly what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, the only one that's cool is the captain. He is the only one that I would go for.
But he needs a helmet.
Well, apparently they all come with a helmet option. The games, somebody posted on Facebook saying the same thing, and then somebody else commented, every time I bought the hero squad, they've always got a helmet option, and then Games Workshop said yes, we can confirm that they will have a helmet option as well. But
Good.
I mean that the heavy intercessor, he's holding his gun like it's an eradicator gun. He doesn't look. He looks like a mixture between the eradicator and the eliminator. He's got the handle on the top.
Oh yeah. Have you noticed the flamers in the Leviathan set have got handles on the top? Doesn't heat rise?
Yeah, but they're Space Marines, so who cares?
I think so as well. Yeah. Now it's all circled back to Leviathan. What do you think to the flamers?
Yes, I want them. Do you know? Is it 5 or 10 that you get in the box set?
I think it's 10.
Okay.
You got 10 assault intercessors in Indomitus, didn't you?
So they would be something that I would be probably willing to sell half of. Looking at you, Asa. Would you have flamers in your Dark Angels? Because I never play squads of 5. I've got no squads of 10s.
If I didn't get the Leviathan set myself,
Oh yes, of course.
maybe. Obviously, I've held off getting Terminators because I was waiting for them to be updated, and I've held off since 2018 when I got back into the hobby. So 5
Not long.
years later, yeah, I'm kind of in two minds whether to get the set, because what do I want out of the Space Marine side? The Librarian in Terminator armor, he's great. The Captain looks cool. The Terminator squad's cool, but if you just wait a few months, you could get the multi-part Terminator squad, and then you have a lot more build options.
You say that though, but look at Indomitus. You did like with the Outriders, the bikes. They just you didn't get the multi-set ones, and some of the models were never released as well.
Yeah, the Necron Warriors, they were repackaged out of Indomitus, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, the other flip side is, and it's probably swearing to say it, but there's always that there is going to be people that get the Leviathan sets, break them up and sell them on eBay.
Yeah,
absolutely. So if there is one specific squad that you're particularly interested in, you really not bothered about the other stuff, I suppose you'd be better off seeing if someone's selling them on eBay, which is what I think how I got my core rule book for 9th, and I'll probably end up doing for 10th, maybe.
Yeah. But do they call them? Is it scalpers or something?
Scalpers, yeah. They're people that deliberately buy stuff that's going to be out of stock to sell at a higher price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
not everyone sells them at higher price. Some people just buy them, and I've got respect for those ones that buy them and sell them at a reasonable, sort of okay, well it's 100 and what do you say, £150, and then they're like, okay, so it's broken down into £75 per army kind of thing.
Yeah.
The ones who are like, and actually they're a bit more for the hobbyist, I think. And more, I would also say aimed at maybe those ones that have got a tighter budget that only wants one army, and they haven't got a mate that they can go halves with, that's into the hobby as well.
Yeah. I suspect that what you won't see for a long time, you won't see the apothecary in Gravis. You won't see the lieutenant, that specific model. I don't think you'll see him. And I reckon eventually they'll do like the reinforcement pack, where they for Indomitus they had like the Judicia and that chaplain and the ancient what's that ancient guy called? The one with the skull on the skeleton on the flag.
Yeah, the Blade Guard Ancient.
That's it. Yeah, Blade Guard Ancient and stuff. And then I reckon you'll see that in a couple of years' time, in a year's time or something.
Yeah, I'm just thinking from I shouldn't have done it, but today I did a little audit of all the models that I've not painted.
Oh, dude.
Including scenery. 263 individual models.
I have a list on my phone.
That's not too bad.
But Leviathan, I mean, how many models is in that set on its own? That'd take me over 300 straight away.
There's a lot. And that's just Space Marines, dude.
So you're in, right?
Yeah. But in my defense, I'm including the Death Guard as well in that list, which I did not purchase.
Innocent bystander is all I'm hearing there.
That's it.
Right. On that note, I'm going to have to head off.
Okay.
Because it's pushing late and I have some tea waiting to be eaten.
Excellent. Sounds good.
Yeah. I'm afraid I'm committed up until the point that there's food available.
Typical bloke.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, thank you. And I shall leave you two to it.
Awesome.
All right, mate.
All right,
you enjoy. Bye.
See ya.
And like that, he's disappeared.
You can't. Yeah. Do you want to leave it there, or do you want to talk a bit more Space Marine focused?
We can talk a bit if you're happy. I've got nowhere to be, nothing to do at the moment. So if you're happy, I'm happy. I've got half a glass of beer left. Oh,
Oh man, mine went ages ago.
top that up.
I have to leave for a bit. No, I'll stick around. Yeah, no, I was just looking at my list of everything that I need to do. I'm trying to prioritize it. That's the thing.
Mm.
And I'm trying to get through it because I know as soon as 10th edition drops, there'll be, well, you know what they're going to do. They're going to shake the rules up, so the models that aren't selling well will suddenly have good rules.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm kind of in that fortunate position where, because I've stuck with the rule of cool, I've got things that I really like the flash kits, the orc pirates.
Yes, yeah.
And they've not been very good rules wise for ages. And I've noticed they're in the orc boarding actions box.
Okay.
So I wonder if they're going to get a bit of a rules boost.
Possibly.
So as a result, they've gone up my priority list a little bit.
Well, you've always said paint what gets you motivated. Paint what, and we were talking about this yesterday in the video that Chris is going to be doing, and I mentioned that's what you had said to me. Paint what gets you excited, and stick with that one model and paint that one model.
Yeah. Well, I've put a little post on Instagram.
I have, yeah.
As we've been on the chat.
Let me have a little look.
For anyone interested, that's CBW_Azza. That's AZA, just one Z. Yeah, I just wanted to, because I was comparing myself against myself. Because when I paint stuff, I base coat it, and then tidy it up, then go onto the shader, then the highlights. And I just wanted to post an example of my base coating ability, which is awful. It's basically a picture of a veteran Dark Angels, one of the older Dark Angel veterans' hooded helmets.
Oh yes, I can see it.
And I've not painted the eyes in at all. I've not put shader in. Everything's really messy. And then I've just compared it with my Azrael helmet, which I've sank quite a lot of time into tidying up, putting shader on, then highlighting over the top. And the difference is insane.
It is.
And I just thought that's kind of useful for beginners to see, and no one really ever shows it.
No, absolutely.
Because you only ever see the end result, and you think, wow, that's amazing.
So, I mean, it might be interesting for those that listen. Again, like we're saying, Chris has done a video on like why he paints and why, we were talking freely about that. Well, it might be interesting for you to do some filming of your models, and then we discuss like the same questions with you. And then you put it over the top. I think Sultan Plays did something really similar, and I think Chris quite enjoyed like watching that. And thought it was quite useful. And I think that what you've shown me there on Instagram, again, CBW_AZA, it's really useful for people who are put off by good looking models who, yeah, a really good point. Really good point. Because there's a huge significant difference between what essentially is battle ready and what is parade ready there.
Yeah, I mean that battle ready isn't even within the lines.
Yeah,
I would say at its core, painting these Warhammer minis to the standard we like, at least, is just colouring in.
Yeah.
Just being very precise at colouring in with paint.
Absolutely. Just dropped something off my airbrush. Never mind. I think I've just broke my airbrush. Oh well. Yeah. No, it's There's this. I don't know why I said no, but yeah, Vicky Pollard there. But no, but yeah. So there's a huge difference then, and a huge difference that the shading has made. Obviously, you've edge highlighted. You can see you've edge highlighted.
This was the first time, and I'm sorry, listeners, you can't see the photo, but go to my Instagram account and you will. The red feathers on the helmet wings, I've actually put 3 different types of colour on there after it's been shaded. So just painted it all red, threw some shader on. instantly hated it because it looked really dark and lost all the kind of lines and definition.
Yeah.
And then I went back over with the original red color, but just on each individual feather, leaving the sort of shade of black bits. And then on each feather that was red, I then did a lighter red 3/4 of the way up, and then orange on the tip.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting to note, and it would have been useful for Chris to be part of this conversation because when he first started painting, when I certainly first started painting, I would paint the model up and then I would basically give it a wash all over and then be done with it. And then I never quite realised how dull that makes. So it's always useful for people, if you've made it this far and you're still listening and you do paint, just be mindful of once you've applied the shader, let it dry, and then go over the edge, like the race parts basically, because your model will look so much better.
Yeah, even if it's just with the original color.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember literally the first time painting it and whacking the shader on and being like, "Wow, that looks so cool," and then as me and you started progressing with our painting, and you were talking about recess shading, and then obviously you were then painting it up, I started then just reapplying the paint on, and then I remember putting two Space Marine models together, one that was recess shade, and one that was basically whacked shader on, and it looks so different. It looks more like the pictures on the Games Workshop website as well, which is most people are striving to get. Or you know what I mean, unless you're doing the grim dark side of, is it grim dark? Isn't it?
The grim dark, the sort of dirty kind of, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If that's the case, then whack shader all over it, go nuts. But
I'll tell you something. We were talking about Blood Angels earlier. I've got a spare squad of 5 assault intercessors sat in the garage that's
so
been
have I.
sprayed and just sat there for ages. What I intend to do is try doing a fast way of painting Blood Angels.
Okay.
So that 5-man squad, I'm going to spray them black. I'm going to slap chop them, and then spray them with red contrast. But then I also want to do that panel lining technique with oil paint.
Yes, yeah.
Where you give it a gloss varnish and then you get some oil wash and then you just dab it into these recesses, and like it's called capillary action. It's where like the liquid sort of flows into all of these recesses and crevices, and it basically just does it for you.
Yeah.
Or from what I've seen, as long as I can imagine there's some kind of knack to it in order to make it do that. But I'd like to try painting a Blood Angel little 5-man squad in a day, like in like one session. I'd be interesting to see how I could do that.
Yeah, but you've got too many models to paint already, dude.
To be fair, they're part of the 260 odd models that I've already accounted for.
Why would you go Blood Angels? Just because it's something different?
Just because it's different, I think the red colour would lean itself better to slap chop because it's a very strong colour.
I hear you. So not Imperial Fist then, not yellow.
Yeah, I've already got some Imperial Fists. Painting yellow is such a pain in the derriere. So yeah, no, I think also just having different coloured Space Marines in starter sets is probably, from my own point of view, just to try and get other people to try playing the game. And I can say, oh, which ones do you want? Do you want these yellow ones, these green ones, these red ones?
I see the novelty and the appeal behind that. To be fair, and they also look cool to have on your shelf in units.
Yeah, but then the next thing is I need some blue ones.
Yeah, well, you know, you could do that. I'll let you. I'll give you permission.
Well, I'm guessing the reason I'm doing it with Assault Intercessors is because you couldn't move for Assault Intercessors in 9th edition. They're in every starter set. They're in Indomitus.
Yeah.
They're all over eBay because they're so common. That's why I've got so many. And then I bought the Assault Intercessor box set in order to make some veterans. But then I didn't use them. So then I've got 10, like, non-easy build ones as well. So I just thought it'd be a good opportunity.
Yeah, I've got some with Imperium. I think I might have 5 or 10. I can't remember. But they're within. I've got like a little box where all of my sprues that I don't use, they're in there, with no intention to do anything with them at all.
Beanery?
with a little bit. I've only got 2 crates. That set. I've only got 2 of them, I think, or one of them. I think it's 2 because me and Chris went halves and halves, obviously. And one of the crates I was going to build, and then I was going to cut it in half or melt it or something, so it looked like it'd been destroyed. And I just never got around to it because more models. Yeah.
More models, more problems.
That's it. I'm running out of space, to be fair. But I've still, the last battle report that we did. I've still got my scenery in the back of the car because I thought, you know what, it's just easier in there.
It makes sense as long as it doesn't turn into a hot day and melt.
Well, yeah, true.
Didn't that happen last summer? You left something in the car and it warped.
So I had quite a lot of my paints. About 2 or 3 of them dried out.
In the conservatory, though.
Yeah, in the conservatory. And then I moved them out into the kitchen, we've got a slate floor and it's cold, and some of them still dried out in there as well. But they were at the at the very end of it. I was just about to finish the pot.
Yeah,
Did
they
I?
get a bit like that.
I think I did have something that melted. I can't recall. I remember something along those lines anyway. Oh, I'm trying to think what it was now. Oh well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's the problem with the Citadel paint pots. Like, I always get dried paint at the back edge of the lid, and then that makes it really harder to close.
Yeah, so I saw something quite funny the other day that was saying that a video that we've been opening them wrong. So the way, I mean, I tend to do it now anyway, but the proper way to do that apparently is to open it and not fully open it. So just literally open it, let the paint run out, give it a 30 seconds to a minute, and then open the paint pot up. So that paint then doesn't drip down the back, it's dripped straight. Do you know what I mean?
Who's got time for that?
So I do it, and I've done it for probably for the last year, if I'm honest, and I've had no problems with it.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, I'll
Maybe
try and remember.
maybe I'll do a short. That'd be funny. People like to get enraged by the Citadel paint pots.
Yeah. But we still use them.
We still use them. Yeah, well, the paint's good quality, isn't it? Really.
It is. Yeah.
We've both tried Army Painter, and yeah, Citadel's just much better.
Yeah. I don't know whether I've become a better painter since swapping to Citadel, or Citadel is just better quality paint. I don't know. But I know what I use now gets the results that I want, so I stick with it.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I'm sure Citadel are happy to hear it.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is you can look on the website and you can look at what they suggest to paint that model up, even though that model isn't painted in Citadel paint. But that's what they recommend. So you've got a guide.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I know the artistic types would be like, well, why don't you just mix your own paint? Why don't you just, rather than buy a different shade of grey, why don't you just buy white and black?
So there's a meme, a really good meme, and it's a lady. Then she's being interviewed about maybe a house was on fire or something like that, and she says, "Ain't anybody got time for that." That's why we don't do it, because we are not professional painters. We are doing it as a hobby.
Yeah, I don't have an artistic eye that would be able to match a specific shade of grey.
No. And even if you did, the likelihood of you doing it again the next day is quite slim.
Absolutely. Or if I've finished a unit and then I try and paint another unit for my army 6 months later, I want them to look the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Continuity in your models. Models.
Yeah. The models, yes,
indeed.
Models. Yeah, agreed.
Excuse me, I just did a belch. I don't know if you heard that. I do apologise if you did. It was rather...
I didn't personally.
Okay, that's fine.
Hopefully it won't come through on the headphones when I'm listening later.
Excellent.
Right, I'd say that's a wrapping up belch, though.
A good wrapping up belch if I ever heard one.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you very much for listening, and thanks for getting this far into the video. Like we said earlier, if you're on Spotify, you can leave us a comment. You can do it via question. Somehow it'll get through to us. I don't know. Or you can go over to YouTube and then type Command Battle Win. Find the podcast that's on there, whichever episode number this is. It'll be the same with the same name. and then leave a comment there. Also subscribe because it helps. I know everybody says it helps, but it does help. It really does help.
And who do they have to tell?
Well, they have to tell their mums. They have to tell their friends. Also, if you want to be really crazy, go to your local gaming store and tell them.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
spread the word.
Spread the word. CBW is on the prowl of war. Is that a saying? I've made it a saying.
We can make anything a saying if we try hard enough.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, all right. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, tell your mums, and don't forget to move the troops.
Move the troops.